Hey, what's up everyone? This is DCSG 81 and today we'll look into this Spider-Man upgraded suit from Far From Home, and this is from the s.h.figuarts. Okay, so a little history about this figure is that when it first opened up for pre-order, I didn't intend to get it. I just pre-ordered the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man, and I left this out because first of all, I felt that it just kind of looked like a repaint from the Homecoming ones, so I just doesn't interest me at all. And then after that, of course, the pre-order got closed, and it was just few weeks ago or just last week, if I'm not wrong. My buddy actually told me that it has reopened for pre-order again, and then I was actually quite surprised because usually they don't do it for hot figures like Spider-Man or Iron Man. So then it got me to think whether I should get it or not, and then I start to look for the prototype pictures of this Far From Home, as well as the one that was released last time for Homecoming, and it does looks significantly different in terms of the sculptures and the paint. Of course, the paint is different. This is black, okay. But from the overall figure, it just looks a little bit different. So I was thinking, so why not just get it and take a look at it and review for you guys and see how it goes. Okay, so for the box, it looks quite different, or maybe it's the same because I'm not that sure. As my Homecoming Spider-Man, I didn't get the s.h.figuarts one. I actually got the Mayfax one, which I'll do a comparison later. So okay, so for this one, it looks pretty good. I actually like this box design a lot. You can see the Spider-Man here. Of course, this is not the figure. It's actually of the real, or it's actually a 3D animation. I mean 3D versions of the Spider-Man, or is it from the movie? I'm not too sure, hard to tell. Okay, so from the side, of course, you can see the figures here. Okay, looking pretty good. And even here, you actually have some pretty interesting logo of Spider-Man, and they actually show more poses on the side as compared to some other boxes where they just show the figure standing still. Okay, pretty interesting. And at the end, at the back of the box, it looks pretty much the same as any other boxes, just the figures, you know. And surprisingly, they didn't show the head with different interchangeable eyes, which they usually do, but this time they don't. Okay, so let's crack this open. Okay, so this is the figure right out of the box. Let's take a closer look. Okay, sorry, before we get a closer look, I actually like to share with you guys about there are some sharings from the collectors in Hong Kong about these figures. There has been some QC issues with this figure, especially on the painting. So I can show you some pictures right now. Some of my friends who actually got the figures, that there are some parts of the webbing is unpainted, especially if you can see the picture right now. The shoulder portion is actually unpainted, which is a small problem. I mean, if you just get some Gundam marker, you can actually paint it back, but this shouldn't happen to an s.h.figuarts figure, so it's pretty disappointing. And there are also some collectors who have quite a bad smudges on the paint, so you can see some black patches on the legs. So I got pretty worried after I see all these pictures. So now let's take a closer look on mine, which I think so far I think is pretty okay. The webbing is all painted okay. If you do see anything which I don't, do leave me a comments. Okay, so far I think it's okay, especially the Spider-Man emblems looking pretty good. Okay, and this one as well. It's actually being painted pretty well. So let's take a look at the legs. So far there are no smudges on the paint. Okay, it looks okay. There is a portion here which I think is unpainted. It's the lines. I'm not sure whether it's intended to be. Even here is the same. I think that's fine though. And even below the foot, we can actually see that there are painted lines, which is pretty cool though. Okay, so far I think it looks okay and it looks pretty good. Especially the head, I think they did improve it, because the previous Homecoming Spider-Man from s.h.figuarts, if I'm not wrong, one of the bad things about it is the head actually looks very roundish. So it looks very odd for a human head to be that roundish. So I think they actually corrected it and actually look more of a human head's oval shape right now. So it looks pretty good. So let's get into the articulations. Okay, so for the articulation, let's start with the head. For Spider-Man, I think it looks, I mean, he should be able to do pretty much everything that a human can. So the head can actually turn all around. He can look down pretty much, look up very much. And there's a butterfly joint here that you can see here. I can move it forward and backward. So if I move it forward, it's all well covered, which is good, because some figures when you move it forward you can start to see some gaps. So it doesn't happen for this. And there's no arm swivel on this Spider-Man. And there's a double joint elbow. And of course the hand, you can move it around. So same goes for any figures. There's two joints here, which is very important for Spider-Man because he do a lot of crazy poses when he's swinging. So he should be able to bend forward a lot and also bend backward, not so much, but it's okay because a human can't bend too much, they'll break their backbones. But bring forwards, you will start to see some holes here. They actually try to fix this problem by giving an extra piece here. You can see the inside, but once you bend too much, it still exposes the holes, unfortunately. Okay, so for the legs, pretty much a perfect split, almost. There's a leg swivel, I believe. Yep, it's pretty tight. Okay, there's a leg swivel here, double joint knee. Okay, and then the legs, yep, you can actually move pretty much back and forwards, and to the side as well. Okay, and of course there's a toe hinge. Okay, so it looks pretty good. As I mentioned every time, that s.h.figuarts don't usually disappoint when it comes to articulations and joints. Okay, so next we'll take a look at the accessories. Okay, so for the accessories, I think it's better for me to show it to you guys this way because it looks it's actually looking pretty more organized. So you can see the Spider-Man is sitting there waiting for me. So okay, so let's go through the hands first. He comes with a pair of fist hands that's on the figure itself. Then it comes with a pair of open hands, a pair of web holding hands when swinging, or it also can be used as a thumbs up hands. Okay, and then a pair of relaxed hands, and then a pair of web shooting hands. Of course, we can't not have this for any Spider-Man figures. And then as for the webbings, it comes with the standard few, which I think is pretty standard. They have all these. Okay, so the first one of course is the swinging web. It's very long. Then this one is for the web shooting, the longer ones to be connected to his wrist. And then this also the shorter ones. Okay, and then he comes with two more interchangeable eyes. I believe this one is the widest opens ones, and then this one is the medium one, and this one is the smaller one. I actually hope that gives the red eyes the what do you call that, the kill mode. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Okay, and then this is for the connectors to his back. There's a portion on the back that you can actually remove. I think it's somewhere here, and you just remove it, and then you plug in this one, so that your standard s.h.figuarts stand can actually just plug it in, so you don't have to use the clamp that looks very ugly on pictures. So you can just plug it in, so when you do any swinging pose, it looks as if he's really swinging in the air. Okay, so and then they also come with this one, is for popping up the eyes, for the interchangeable eyes. So a very small piece of plastic. So all you have to do is you just need to pull out the head like this. Then you can see there are two holes inside, which you just need to actually push it out for the eyes and just change it. Okay, so that's all it comes with. And as usual, s.h.figuarts doesn't even comes with a stand. So I really hope for any Spider-Man they should come with a stand. I mean, at least, because most of us actually post Spider-Man swinging, right, or jumping on the air, but that's the least they can do. But they still want to save on that, then don't give us any stand at all. Okay, so for the size comparison, this time it will be a little special because I'm going to compare him with all the Spider-Mans that I have from different brands. So first of all, we start with the Marvel Legends. This is the Marvel Legends Homecoming Spider-Man, which is a 2-pack together with MJ. And then this is the Scarlet Spider from I forgot where I got it from. I got this very long ago. This is not the reissues one. This is the very first Scarlet Spider which I got. Not sure whether it's Hasbro or is it Marvel Legends. It was very long ago. So you can see both of them scale pretty big as compared to the s.h.figuarts one. Okay, so right up next, I'll compare him with the s.h.figuarts line. So this is the Homecoming Homemade Suit Spider-Man, and this is the Iron Spider from the Infinity War. So among these two, they actually scale almost the same, but this one looks a little bit smaller compared to him. Right up next will be the Mafex line, which I have the Mafex Homecoming Spider-Man, the tech suit, and then this is the recent Iron Spider from the Infinity War, as well as the big guy behind. This is from the Amazing Spider-Man, the comic version. All three of them are actually from Mafex, so I believe they actually scale pretty well, and I think this is almost the same as well. Yep. So but for the comic version, of course, it will be slightly bigger. And lastly, unfortunately, I don't have any Masco Spider-Man yet. I still actually I wanted to get the one from Homecoming. It's actually looking pretty good, and the recent Far From Home is also looking very good. But unfortunately, I think that one is an exclusive, if I'm not wrong, so it's pretty much costly. So, and as for Figma, I don't think they actually released any Spider-Man yet. Correct me if I'm wrong on the comments below. And I do have this one, the last one, which is from the Rebotech Yamaguchi line Spider-Man, and he looks very big as compared to this one. Okay, so my final thoughts on this guy is I can say that I never regret to pre-order it. Actually, I feel that I'm so lucky that I have actually pre-ordered it because I like it a lot. I never thought that I would actually like it so much, because I have the bad impressions from the Homecoming versions, whereby between that Homecoming Spider-Man tech suit from s.h.figuarts and compare with the Mafex one. Actually, s.h.figuarts, unfortunately, it pretty much looks bad compared to the Mafex one. Sorry, I was trying to get the Mafex one just now. Okay, so this is the one that I compare with the s.h.figuarts last time, and it's very clearly that this one actually looks a lot better than the s.h.figuarts one. And also you can see from the head itself, like I mentioned just now, the s.h.figuarts one actually looks very roundish head. So this one is actually looking very good. Until now I think he's still looking pretty good, but s.h.figuarts have picked up the game, and so now he actually quite competitive for this one. So let's see how Mayfax actually does when he makes the Far From Home version of Spider-Man. So now you can see they scale pretty much the same together, but you can actually feel that the material being used, actually I still prefer the Mayfax one. You can see the texture. It's not cloth, but it looks very much like a real cloth, and the material it feels very good though. But this one is you can just sense that it's just, you know, plastic. Yeah, it's a smooth plastic all over, but nevertheless it actually looks very good for this new version, Far From Home version of this Spider-Man. So I just can't wait to see how Mayfax can improve this one in this form. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. Again, the accessories is the standard one, no extras, nothing got taken out, so it's just the same. And the articulation is as always, is very good. So I'm actually giving him maybe a 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, so the only thing is they still two things that they lost to the Mayfax is that they still reluctant to give us the magnet arms and legs. Like you can see, this one is the magnetics one. Okay, they still refuse to give us that. And also the Mayfax come with an Amas head, although it looks horrendous, but s.h.figuarts still doesn't want to try to do a Tom Holland's head, which I really hope they did, because I would like to see how much it looks, I mean how good it looks or how bad it looks. Okay, so yeah, that's the two things. And oh, now I remember that I used to remember that the one of the Spider-Man for s.h.figuarts, they do give something like a magnet, but it's a stand kind of thing. So you still have to clamp on it, and then the magnet is here and stick on the wall. But this one doesn't comes with it. Yeah, so that's another bad things about it. They just come with nothing except for the webbings, and not even a standard stand. Okay, so I think 8.5 over 10 is pretty good for him. And yeah, so if you guys are still thinking about whether to grab this, I hope you will, because I do recommend this. And but of course, if you can pay more for it, you should go for the Mesco one, because that looks pretty good. And yeah, so I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Leave me a comment if you have any further question about this Spider-Man, and of course subscribe to my channel if you like my content so far. Until then, I'll speak to you real soon. Bye.